Cyanic Silver back. Sorry if my voice is a little hoarse today. Been feeling a bit under the weather. But I'm going up against Photographer. Alright, it's Photographer on Lakeside Village. And he is wearing what I consider to be his ugliest skin yet, which is Peter Rattray. Now, I understand it's part of a crossover event. It's one that I don't personally recognize, but I know some people like it simply because it's of a crossover fandom that they really do enjoy. Speaking of crossovers, it is a good way to judge what kind of players you're going to go up against. If there's a crossover going on, you can bet there's going to be a lot of newbies who join IDV simply because of the crossover. But moving on, Photographer's main ability is that he can create this camera world, this black and white world, this camera world, and when it collapses back into the real world, anything that happened, well, they kind of just merge together then. So, Photographer will most often travel into the camera world, try to find a survivor, try to chair them, so that in the real world, when the person's camera world self is chaired, they are then downed in the real world. Just as if they were downed in the camera world, they then take a point of damage in the real world. So whatever damage they suffer in the camera world, they will take half of it in the real world. So you sometimes get an awkward 1/4 damage or 3/4 damage. Or it's like 1.5 points of damage, another way to say it. Another thing about Photographer is that he has very, very poor raw chase skills. His primary abilities comes in outwitting survivors, getting the jump on them, or in other times jump scaring them from the camera world, which has happened to me more than a few times. Now, I think I've talked about all of these survivors. Wait, no, I did not talk about Lucky Guy. Lucky Guy's ability is that he can influence what item he pulls out of chests. And because I think personally that one is a bit a weak skill compared to all the others, so I don't really play him all that much. He has to compete with other characters who can also pull things out of chests, swap their item for something else. So characters like Mercenary or Mechanic, they can swap their items with something else. Or like say with Toy Merchant, who can throw toys to other people. Now right here, Mercenary is body blocking for Lucky Guy, which is a common tactic. Right after a rescue, sometimes the hunter will not hit the rescuer in the hopes that they will immediately hit the rescued person after they've been rescued. So, rescuers sometimes has to body block for them. And now what body blocking is, it's kind of self-explanatory, but I'll just say it. When a full health character runs behind or stays near the injured character in the hopes of taking the hit. Taking the hit, kind of same point. Now, I don't know why it's not showing the animation in the camera world, but it does in the real world. Another thing about Joseph is that his basic attacks do 1.5 points of damage instead of the hunter's normal 1 point of damage. So it does lead to awkward health situations where you can't exactly heal yourself back up to full because the game doesn't register you as fully injured. So that's why sometimes you will see people running around with only a 0.5 point of damage or at 1.5 points of damage. Now what Mechanic and Prospector did, Mechanic was not so lucky, is that when they know their camera world self has been chaired, they will run off somewhere isolated in the hopes that they can heal themselves or a teammate can find them and heal them before a photographer chairs them. Now, Prospector was much luckier than Mechanic. Prospector has Mercenary to come heal them. And I think I've already talked about Mechanic and her doll. Very fragile, goes down in one hit, but otherwise can act like a survivor like any other. Can heal, can decode, can rescue, all that stuff. But not being in the doll's perspective does not incur the crows over the head like normal survivors. And also the doll can decode even if you are not in direct control of the doll. Now, Mechanic is trying to rescue herself with the doll. That is something even back when I was a mechanic main always scared me, just because the doll is so fragile. Bye-bye, mechanic. Oh, careful there, Mercenary. Photographer's nearby, you should get off that. See, jump scare. But Photographer missed that hit. That one was not very good, Photographer. And that one was even worse, Mercenary. Iron Dash, not very good. But you are getting lucky that Photographer is missing so many hits. Then again, this is Nagito, Ultimate Lucky Student. I'm a big Danganronpa fan, and I love seeing Danganronpa skins in the game. In a pinch, a rescuer's items can be used to kite. It's one that I personally don't really use often though, since well the rescue-based items are designed for a quick rescue, not for long-term kiting. Ooh, good one there, Lucky Guy. Lucky Guy had the coordinator gun, which I think is the easiest rescue item to use. However, you do have to be careful that you don't accidentally hit an object, as the flare gun will follow the hunter, but the hunter can manipulate its path by weaving in and out of objects. Looks like Photographer knows that one of the ciphers is about to be completed. You gotta be careful there, Prospector. You might get jump scared. Whoopsies, there you go. There it is. I wonder what accessory the Photographer has to replace the balloon animation with this photo animation. It's nice. Now, what Lucky Guy did there, which I think is wiser than trying to rescue while Prospector was chaired. The Mercenary and Lucky Guy both not at full health. It probably would have resulted in a loss. And especially with the cipher being so near Photographer and the chaired Prospector. Now here, they gotta focus on getting out. I've seen a lot of games where people are greedy for the 4-man win or the 3-man win instead of a tie. So they will try to detention rescue, and like the name says, it's rescuing when the hunter has detention. It so often fails though. Now here, it can work out, like right here, Photographer made a mistake, leaving Prospector open for Mercenary to go rescue. And Photographer doesn't have a way to quickly get back to the Prospector's chair. Good one there, Mercenary. Other times it can work out is if one of them is a pro kiter and has outlasted the hunter's detention duration, which has happened. Other times is when there's 3 people, third one's on the chair, and the other 2 people are both characters that can tank a hit. Like Mercenary here, or perhaps Gravekeeper. And also the chair is near an open exit gate. But yeah, here, Mercenary and Prospector are already at one opened exit gate. Lucky Guy is decoding the other one across the map. This is not going to be a win for the Photographer. This one is a survivor win. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed, and please let me know if you have any tips for improvement.